Hello brain boosters! Today we're going to be learning geometry, plane and solid shapes with Adan, your teacher. And this is for grade 2. So I am greeting all the second graders to my video today, and I am going to be explaining geometry, plane and solid shapes full chapter in this video. So before I start, make sure you like and subscribe and share this to more second graders to help their studies. We have already learned about some basic shapes in class 1. For example, the 4 basic shapes are: first, we have a rectangle. Second, we have a square. Third, we have a triangle. And then we have a circle. Here we have all the basic shapes. And now we're going to be learning these basic shapes again, but with more detail. So let us start our lesson. First, we have a square. And we know that a square has 4 equal sides. All of the lines are equal length. So now we're going to be studying its corners, also called vertices, and sides. So in a square, there is 4 sides. And those 4 sides is this one, and this one, and this one. These are the 4 sides of a square. Now we're going to take a look at its vertices / corners. Here we have one of the 4 vertices or corners in a square. Let me make it easier by circling them. So first, we have this corner, which is corner number 1 or vertex number 1. Then we have vertex number 2, number 3, and number 4. And that is a detailed square. One of the basic shapes that we are going to be learning. So now you could say, whenever somebody asks you how many sides and vertices does a square have? A square has 4 sides and 4 vertices with an equal length of all the sides. You guys can take a look at it for a second. And now we're going to be moving on to rectangle. So over here we have basic shape number 2, which is a rectangle. A rectangle also has 1, 2, 3, 4 sides and 1, 2, 3, 4 corners. Let me label them for you. So this is a corner / vertex, and this is the side. And over here, this is side number 1, side number 2, side number 3, and side number 4. And next we have vertices. This is vertex number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. So now I'm going to let you take a look at basic shape number 2, which is a rectangle, which also has 4 sides and 4 vertices. Now I'm going to be telling you another thing about rectangles. Rectangle sides are not all equal. As you can see, these sides are smaller than these ones. So now I'm going to be showing you guys the opposite sides. So over here, we have one opposite side over here, and this opposite side is opposite to the one under it. But we can see that these 2 sides are equal. So in a rectangle, we can say the 2 opposite sides are always equal. And now I'm going to be showing you guys that both of the other opposite sides are also equal. See over here, this one is the same length as this one. That is it for a rectangle. And now we're going to be doing circle. This is a circle. And in a circle, there is no vertexes / corners. As you can see, all of its sides are curved. So here, in a circle, there are no vertexes. But there is one side in a circle, which joins till the end. For example, if I erase this circle and try to make a new one, I'm not using more than one side. I'm just taking this one side along through the circle. So we can say a circle does not have any vertex, and so we can say a vertex doesn't have any a vertex. So we can say a circle doesn't have any vertex and it only has one side. It is pretty simple for a circle, one side and no vertex, with a side that is not really equal. So remember, a circle has no vertex and one side. Let's move on. Now we're going to be moving on to a triangle. So now we're going to be checking the vertexes and the sides of a triangle. So over here, we can see that this and this and this is a side, obviously, because the rest of them are vertexes. So over here, we could say a triangle has 3 sides. Now let's look at the vertexes of a triangle. Over here, we have 1, 2, and 3 vertexes. So we can say a triangle has 3. So over here, we have 3 vertexes for a triangle. So over here in this triangle, for example, we say, does it have any equal sides? Yes, it may or not have equal sides, but from out of the 3 equal sides, 2 of them are equal, the side-by-side one. And the one that is under is not equal to them. And that is it for a triangle. Now we're going to be moving on to an oval. I know in this beginning of the video, I didn't really tell oval in basic shapes, but it does come in them. So we're going to be going ahead over to oval. So over here, I have an oval on the board. And an oval is an elongated circle. So it has one curved side and no vertexes. As we can see here, there's only one side and no corners. And this is one of the sides. Now that you have seen the oval and the last basic shape that had to be explained, now I'm going to be giving you guys some questions for you to solve by yourself. Now, for the plane shapes, we're going to do exercise 1. I'm so sorry if you can't really read it because my marker was really running out, but let's start with the exercise 1. So for exercise 1, we have identify shapes and complete the sentences. So identify shapes and complete the sentences. So they're telling us to identify the shape that is on the question and complete the sentences according to it. So over here we have a rectangle. So now we're going to be answering the questions according to the rectangle. For number 1, which is A,
This is a dash. It's already a rectangle, as I said. So over here in this blank, we're going to be writing rectangle. And then we have question number 2. So first it said, this is a, which means what shape is this? This is a rectangle. Number 2, B. It has dash sides. Now how many sides does it have? It's drawn over here, so we could count the sides right now. We're going to count the sides as you learned in this video. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that means there are 4 sides. And then we're going to be moving on. 3. C. Its opposite sides are, sorry, this is very not that good, but it says its opposite sides are. What are its opposite sides? So basically over here, it's asking about the 2 opposite sides on here, and the front and the top and bottom opposite sides, and the left and right opposite sides. And over here, we can only say that both of the opposite sides are equal. So over here, our answer will be equal. Then we have 4, which is D. So it has dash vertices. So over here, we have the rectangle, already drawn. So we're going to be going ahead and counting its vertices or vertices. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are 4 vertices. So over here, we can write there are 4 vertices. So that is it for exercise 1, question 1. So we're going to be moving on exercise 1, question 2. I'm not going to be doing all of the questions in the exercise 1, but I am going to be doing some of them, but not like almost the same ones again and again, so you guys can also try. So now we're going to be going ahead for question 2. Now for our next question. So over here we have exercise 1, question 2. It is mostly the same question but with a different shape. So after this we have 2 more basic shapes. We don't really count oval in these questions. But if you have an oval as a question like this in your textbook, please complete it. And right now we're only going to solve this one, and then we're going to be moving on forward than the shapes. So over here we have question number 1. Sorry, I wrote 2. Question number 1. A. It is a. So over here we can see this is clearly a triangle. So our answer here will be triangle. Then we have number 2, which is B. It has dash sides. So now we're going to go ahead here and count the sides. So over here, if I move to my other blackboard, my marker is not really working right now, so I'm just gonna show you over here. So here we have a triangle, or we could draw it more neatly. So here we have a triangle. We're going to count the sides. This is side 1, side 2, and side 3. So basically it has 3 sides. So over here we can write 3 sides. Then for question number 3, we have C. It has dash corners or vertices. We're going to go over ahead to my blackboard again. And now we're going to be counting its vertices. So over here we have 1 corner slash vertex and 1 more corner, which is 2 corners, and corner number 3. So a triangle has 3 sides and 3 corners. So we're going to be writing 3 as an answer over here. So yeah, that is it for question number 2, exercise 1. Now we're going to be moving on and looking at a more different question. So now we're going to be studying solid shapes, which is subtopic number 2 for our chapter today. And yes, this is the full introduction, exercises, and everything is included in this video. And I put a lot of work, so make sure you like and subscribe for more videos. We see a lot of solid shapes in around us, in front of us, behind us, and even beside us. And today we're also going to be learning about these solid shapes. So now we're going to be moving ahead to subtopic property of solids. So over here we're going to be learning the properties of solids. So for this subtopic, first I'm going to be explaining and then I'm going to be explaining on the board. So that way it makes it easier for people who can understand while listening, and even for people who can understand while writing. So first, we have the first property of solids. Each side of solid shapes is a surface and is called a face, which can be flat or curved. So now I'm going to be explaining it on the board with some examples. So over here, I am making a circle. I'm going to be writing on the blackboard instead. So over here, we're going to be doing the properties of solids, but on the board. So for example, I make a circle over here. So over here, this circle has all this area inside of it, and all this area is called the face of the solid shape. So this is the face of a circle. Now we're going to be looking at the face of a triangle. Over here, all the area inside of it is called the face of the triangle. And next, I'm going to be looking at another shape, for example, oval. So over here, we're going to be doing oval. So oval right here. We're going to be coloring its area on the inside. And all this area is called the face, just like the circle and the triangle. So we're going to be moving on to the second property. So now we're going to be talking about property number 2. And over here we have a property of a solid shape, which is called an edge. So over here I'm going to be making a square, but with more sides. Basically you could call it a 3D square. So over here, now I'm going to be showing you guys the side. But first, I'm going to be explaining it while reading. So first, the second property of solid shapes, 2 faces always meet at an edge. So right now I just told you a face of a solid shape. So basically they mean by 2 faces for 3D shapes, which we're going to be learning now. And then which can be straight or curved. So any solid shape that is straight or curved, it does have the 2 faces, which are joined by an edge. So now we're going to be doing it on the board. So over here, I'm going to be making a 3D a circle or triangle. I'm going to be making one, and then we're going to be explaining. So over here, this is not really that good or 3D, but I tried to make one. Or maybe I could just explain it with a picture over here. So over here, I pinned a picture with the listing, or over here. Okay, so this is a 3D square. Let me just pin a picture. So over here in the picture, we have a square that is also showing its edges and also the two faces that are joined by the edge. So you can go and take a look at it, and basically the edge is what we call, just think these are one and two faces, and over here this line is the edge. For our last property of solids, property number 3, three edges meet at a point called vertex. So we did study about vertex in plane shapes, and we're going to study again, so it could be a little revision for you, but we're going to be going a bit more faster than face and edge, because I think you guys would already know about vertex as we did it for plane shapes. Here is the pin's picture. So in this pin picture, we have a rectangle, which is 3D, and for the three edges, it is showing that after the three edges, there are vertexes. So yeah, you can take a look at it. It is pretty much like definitely the same as the vertexes we just learned before in the video, and now we're going to be learning them and revising them again. These are called vortexes. Now, I have been mentioning some 3D shapes while studying the properties of solids. So now we're going to be moving ahead to 3D shapes. So over here, I'm going to be putting the picture of the shape, and over here, I'm going to be explaining the 3D shape. For our first 3D shape, let me just put the 3D shape here with its examples in real life. So for our first 3D shape, we have cuboid. So I'm going to be putting some pictures up over here for examples of cuboids in real life, and also a real cuboid that is basically drawn or digital, and some real life examples of cuboids. So for our first example of a cuboid is the cupboard. So basically a cupboard is a very rectangle shaped cuboid. And let me just draw it right here. So this cupboard is very rectangle. And mostly cuboid is basically a rectangular box or thing, or like, so basically a cuboid is a rectangular shape. For example, we could give another example for a cuboid, which is a matchbox. So you buy those matchboxes from shops, and it's a little thin box which is very rectangular. So that is also a cuboid. So whenever somebody asks you what 3D shape is a matchbox or a cupboard or anything like that, it is always a cuboid. So over here, I am going to be now linking and showing you all the parts of a cuboid. The picture is right here of the cuboid, and now I'm going to be showing you guys also on my blackboard. But if you don't understand from here, I'm explaining on the blackboard, but if you don't understand my drawing, you can obviously look at the picture. So over here, I'm going to be drawing a simple cuboid, no real life example, just a simple cuboid. So I'm gonna go over here and just going to finish this cuboid. Okay, so that is a cuboid over here. And in this cuboid, we have this, this, or this as the face of the cuboid. So we can say any area of a 3D shape or a 2D shape, which is basically a plane shape. The area is called the face. Now for our second part about a cuboid is the edge. So over here we can see, as I told you while speaking, that two faces always meet at an edge. And over here we can see this as face number 1 and this as face number 2. And over here in the middle, which is making these both faces meet together, we have this line in the middle, which is called the edge. Now, I know that was pretty simple. Over here, we also have this face and this face, which is probably the same face, but we still have an edge between them. So that was it for face and edge. We're going to be moving on to vertex. And as always, I'm going to be doing a little more faster because we all know what a vertex is. Here's another linked picture of a cuboid with the vertexes pointed at. And over here, I'm just going to be making the 3D shape again, which is the cuboid. And we're going to be showing you its vertexes. So over here, we have 3 faces meeting together. And from those 3 faces, we have this little vertex over here. So, as I told you while speaking, 3 edges meet at a point which is called vertex. So over here it is like that. So basically the corner, or any corner that is made in a cuboid or any 3D shape, is called a vertex. So over here we have this vertex that is making these 3 faces join together. So yeah, that is it for vertex, face, and edge for a cuboid. We're going to be moving on. 3D shape number 2. Remember, we just studied a cuboid, which was a rectangular 3D shape. Now we're going to be studying a cube, which is a square type 3D shape. This is the picture of a cube. It is a square, but it is a 3D square. Just as a cuboid, it was a rectangle, but a 3D one. So over here, I'm going to be making a cube. We usually call a lot of stuff. You can hear some of your older siblings saying, "Oh my gosh, do you see that big dice cube?" So you guys might have heard from your grown ones while they say ice cube, can I get that ice cube please? Why we call it an ice cube? Because cube is a 3D shape for a square. So a square is the 2D form or a plane shape for a cube. And a cube is a 3D form or for the plane shaped square. So we usually call an ice cube a cube because it is 3D and it has all the sides. And no, 2D and 3D shapes do not have the same exact number of vertexes or faces or sides or anything like that. They all are very different from each other, even though it's a cube and a square, which are almost exactly the same, only 2D and 3D, but still they do not have the same sides or vertexes. So over here I have made a cube, and also I've linked a picture right here of a cube, and we're going to be looking at its faces first. So over here we have face number 1, number 2, and number 3. So we have 3 faces, and this is supposed to be joined with this one. So yeah, you can see it in the picture. It does not have 4 faces, it is all 3. So we can say that an area of any shape is its face. So over here we have face completed for cube. Now I'm going to be going very fast through these because we have learned these very slowly for the last shape, which was cuboid. And now we're going to be moving on to vertex. So over here I also have the picture linked, so you can also look at that. And over here we have another cube. This mostly looks like a cuboid, but it is a cube. You can check over here. It does have a big difference between the shapes. And over here we are looking at its vertexes. So over here we have face 1, face 2, and face 3. So over here we can say that the middle, the part that is joining all these 3 faces together, is its vertex. So that is it for vertex for a cube. And then last but not least, we're going to be learning the edges of a cube. And over here we have 2 faces. And remember, the 2 faces that are joined together, and the middle line that is joining the 2 faces is called the edge. Picture is right here. And guys, a fun fact, each face of a square is, and guys, fun fact, each is, and guys, fun fact, each face of a cube is a square, and even for a cuboid it is a rectangle. So we're going to be moving on for the examples of a cube. Over here are all the examples. You can see a dice, an ice cube that I already told, a Rubik's cube, and even a Lego block. So those are all the examples. You can probably give your mom some new examples while studying. And I'm sure you guys can name some cool examples for cubes and cuboids and tell them to your moms. Your moms will be very, very happy. So now we're going to be moving on. A sphere. So a sphere is a 3D shape for the 2D shape, which is circle. So over here we have a sphere, which is a completely curved surface, and it only has one face, which is all the way curved, just like one side for a circle, which is all the way curved, and it has no edges or no vertices. So we're going to be trying to be making a sphere over here, and also going to be putting the picture. So this is like the 3D part of it, and this is all only one face. So we could say a sphere has no edges, no vertices, and one face. And then we're going to be looking at some examples. Over here we have an example of a globe, a football, and a tennis ball, and there's a lot of more stuff in this world that are shaped sphere. For 3D shape number 4, we have a cylinder. A cylinder. So for a cylinder, we have a lots and lots and lots of examples. So I'm going to be putting the examples before we explain a cylinder because it's quite hard. So we're going to be explaining it very slowly and very calmly so you guys can understand. So we have a Coke can over here. I know y'all love those also, but they are very bad for your health. So we have tube lights. We have a cell. We can mostly see tube lights in like ceilings of people's homes, and we also have a cell, which is obviously for putting in toys and a remote or more stuff like that. And we can also see a cylinder shaped candle over here. Mostly candles are cylinder shaped, but some of them aren't. So this is one of the cylinder shaped candles. So a cylinder can be thin and thick just like the other 3D shapes. So over here I have the picture linked with the the faces, the curved edges, and the curved face and the vertexes. Actually, a cylinder doesn't have any vertexes because it is all round and has no pointy edges or corners. Not really edges, corners. So over here I'm going to be making a cylinder. So yeah, we have the picture linked over here. And here we go. So over here I have made a cylinder. So a cylinder has no pointy edges. You can see all of them are mostly round. And now we're going to be looking at its faces. So over here we have face number 1, which is called its flat face because it is completely flat and it is not really round or curved or pointy. This is completely flat. So this is called the flat face. And then we have the flat face number 2, which is the bottom face, which is also pretty flat, just like the one on top. This is also called the flat face. So there are two flat faces of the cylinder. Okay, so for the curved face, so this cylinder is going to be going round. So this is the curved part of the cylinder. So this is the curved face. So now we're going to be moving on to its edges. Now over here we can see this is face number 1, face number 2, and also face number 3. So for 1 and 2 face. So for 1 and 2 face, we have this line that is joining them, and this line over here is called the curved edges because they are curved. So these are the curved edge or curved edges. So here is more curved edges. There is only 2 curved edges, actually 1, but still we call it with an S, which is curved edges, not edge, because curved edge is not really that appropriate for a curved cylinder. So here is the picture. Now we're going to be moving on, but remember, a cylinder has one curved face, two flat faces, two curved edges, and zero vertices. And here is the picture. So there are two curved edges, not one, but two curved edges. Now for the last one, we're going to be looking at a cone. So I have the picture linked, the cone, and this is the last 3D shape we're learning. So over here we have a cone, and a cone is like the cone under our ice cream, which is also the same cone we are learning right now. The birthday cap we put on, which is also shaped as a cone, and the funnel we put rice through, so or liquid through, so the bacterial stuff couldn't go through, is also shaped as a cone. So there are a lot of cone shaped things in real life. Let me just try to make a cone for you. This is a cone, and we're going to be looking at its vertexes. There's only one vertex on the top of a cone, and there's no more vertexes because on the bottom of a cone, it is not really straight. It has like a hole underneath it. So the bottom part is called the flat surface, and the top part is the vertex because it's the corner of our cone. And then we have the curved face, which is all this because it curves around, so this is the curved face. And then we have the curved edge, and there's only one edge, which is this one that connects the two faces together. So this is the edge. And that is it for this chapter. And yeah, the exercises for this chapter will be in another video. And yeah, that's it. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe and like. And yeah, that's it.